Have you ever found yourself wide awake at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep seems to come so easily at bedtime, only to vanish like a whisper just a few hours later? You're not alone. If you're over 60 and noticing that your nights are broken up by these early wake-ups, know this: it's not just part of getting older, and you're certainly not imagining things. There are real, hidden reasons behind this, and many of them have to do with your body, your brain, and even how your day is structured. The good news? Once you understand what's going on, you can do something about it. Waking up at 3 a.m. might seem like just an inconvenience, but over time, it chips away at your energy, your focus, and even your mood. It can leave you feeling drained before the day has even started. And when that happens regularly, it doesn't just affect how you feel, it affects your health. In this video, we're going to talk about what might really be waking you up at that frustrating hour and why it's important not to ignore it. We'll look at what your body is trying to tell you, the little signs you may have overlooked, and how to gently guide yourself back to deep, restful sleep again. No scary medical talk, no pills, you'll just need a little awareness, some easy lifestyle shifts, and maybe a bit of patience with yourself. So, let's start with something many people don't realize: your sleep cycle isn't just about how tired you are at night. It's actually a 24-hour rhythm, like a gentle tide going in and out. That rhythm is called your circadian rhythm. When we were younger, this rhythm ran almost like clockwork. But as we age, that internal clock starts to get a little, confused. One of the biggest hidden culprits behind those 3 a.m. wake-ups is the natural drop in melatonin production as we age. Melatonin is the hormone that helps your brain and body know it's time to rest. In your younger years, your brain released plenty of melatonin as the sun went down. But now? Not so much. That means your body may fall asleep at bedtime, but staying asleep becomes much harder. It's like the off switch works fine, but the stay off part glitches halfway through the night. And here's the thing most people don't know: between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., your melatonin levels start to drop naturally, even in people with normal levels. But for seniors, especially those over 60, those levels are already lower to begin with. So, if your body's struggling to produce enough melatonin, and it dips too early, your brain may start getting the message, "Hey, time to wake up," when you're nowhere near done sleeping. Now, let's be real: if that were the only reason, we'd all just take a melatonin pill and be done with it, right? But here's where things get more interesting and more personal. Let's talk about something that doesn't often get mentioned: blood sugar drops in the middle of the night. Yes, even if you're not diabetic. Our bodies rely on a steady stream of glucose, sugar, to keep our brain fueled, even while we sleep. If you've had a light dinner or eaten too early in the evening, your blood sugar might dip too low in the early morning hours. And when that happens, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline to wake you up and fix the problem. That's right, your body wakes you up to protect your brain. Ever notice that when you wake up at 3 a.m., your heart might be racing a little? Or you feel oddly alert, like you could get up and reorganize the pantry or write a novel? That's adrenaline in action. It's your body saying, "Hey, we need fuel. Let's get moving." So how do you deal with that? One simple trick is to try eating a small, protein-rich snack about 30 to 60 minutes before bed, something like a spoonful of peanut butter, a piece of turkey, or a slice of cheese. It sounds too easy to be true, but for some people, this one change helps stabilize blood sugar enough to keep them sleeping right through those critical hours. And speaking of what your body's trying to tell you, let's not ignore the role of anxiety and emotional processing. You see, the brain doesn't stop working just because we're asleep. In fact, it uses that quiet time to process everything that's been building up during the day. Worries, to-do lists, regrets, old memories, they all get stirred up during sleep, especially during those early morning hours. Have you ever noticed that when you wake up in the middle of the night, your thoughts seem louder? Worries that felt small during the day suddenly feel enormous in the dark. That's not your imagination. At 3 a.m., your brain's rational thinking part, your prefrontal cortex, is still in sleep mode. But the emotional centers? They're wide awake. So, what might have been a passing thought at noon becomes a spiral of what-ifs at 3 a.m. This kind of emotional reprocessing is natural, but when stress or loneliness go unspoken, they can take over your quiet hours. And for many seniors, even those surrounded by family, there can be a sense of quiet grief for old routines, old friends, or just the sense that life feels different than it used to. That emotional weight doesn't always show up during the day, but it can echo loudly in the silence of the early morning. Now, I want to pause here and just say you're not weak, broken, or doing anything wrong. If anything, your body and your mind are trying their best to protect you. But they might be using signals that are a little outdated or out of sync. And the fact that you're watching this, trying to understand, trying to take control again, that's powerful. There's more going on beneath the surface than just a bad night's sleep. And the more you learn about these small but meaningful causes, the more empowered you become to change them. So now that we've looked at how melatonin changes, blood sugar swings, and emotional processing can all play a part in those 3 a.m. wake-ups, let's keep going. There are a few more reasons, some even more surprising, that might be disrupting your sleep without you realizing it. And here's where things start to get even more surprising, because not all 3 a.m. wake-ups are caused by what's happening inside your body. Some are triggered by what's missing from your life during the day. Let's talk about daylight exposure. It might sound unrelated, but your body relies on natural light during the day to properly regulate your internal clock, your circadian rhythm. Back when we were working, commuting, or running after kids or grandkids, we naturally spent more time outdoors. But now, especially in retirement or when mobility slows down, it's easy to spend most of the day indoors. Even if you're near a window, it's not the same. And that lack of bright, natural light during the morning and early afternoon? It sends a confusing message to your brain. Your body's internal clock starts to drift. It may not release melatonin at the right time. It may even start nudging you towards sleep earlier than usual, which might sound like a good thing, but going to bed too early can cause your sleep cycle to shift out of sync. So you fall asleep at 8 or 9 p.m., and by 3 a.m., your body thinks, hey, we've had our rest, let's start the day. One small change that can make a big difference is stepping outside for just 15 to 30 minutes in the morning. Even on a cloudy day, natural light helps reset your internal rhythm. If you can, try sipping your morning coffee on the porch, walking to the mailbox a few times, or just sitting near an open window with sunlight coming in. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most powerful tools you have to tell your body, this is day. Night comes later. Now, let's shift gears a little and talk about another piece of the puzzle, something that often goes unnoticed, fluid balance and bathroom habits. If you're waking up at 3 a.m. and heading straight to the bathroom, you're not alone. Nocturia, or nighttime urination, affects a lot of older adults, and it's not always just about drinking too much water before bed. As we age, our kidneys become a little less efficient. They may not concentrate urine as well, meaning your bladder fills faster even if you're not drinking much. Hormonal changes can also play a part, especially for women after menopause and men with prostate issues. And unfortunately, this becomes a vicious cycle. You wake up needing to go, but then you can't fall back asleep. So what can you do? Well, it's not about cutting water altogether, that can actually make things worse. But shifting most of your fluid intake to earlier in the day can help. Try drinking more in the morning and early afternoon, and then slowly taper off as the evening goes on. Also, take a look at caffeine in coffee, tea, even chocolate. Caffeine is a diuretic, and it can irritate your bladder. If you're having caffeine later than 3 or 4 p.m., it might be worth switching to herbal tea or water. And don't forget movement. Gentle activity during the day helps your body naturally manage fluids, encourages better digestion, and improves circulation, all of which can support better sleep at night. Even just walking around the house during commercials or doing light stretching can make a difference. Now, let me bring up something that might feel a little uncomfortable but is worth mentioning: sleep apnea and breathing issues. Many people think sleep apnea is just about loud snoring or being overweight, but it's actually much more common in older adults than you'd think, even in those who are thin and don't snore at all. What happens with sleep apnea is that your airway closes for short periods while you sleep, sometimes just a few seconds at a time. Your brain notices the drop in oxygen and jolts you awake just enough to start breathing normally again. You might not even realize it's happening, but it breaks up your sleep cycle again and again, often right around, you guessed it, 3 a.m. If you often wake up feeling like you didn't sleep at all, or you're more tired during the day than you think you should be, it's worth bringing up with your doctor. And I know, getting a sleep study sounds intimidating, but there are home tests now, small and easy, and they can tell you a lot. But even if you haven't been diagnosed with sleep apnea, paying attention to your breathing while you sleep is still helpful. Try sleeping on your side instead of your back, and keep your bedroom a little cooler. A small, supportive pillow under your neck can help keep your airway more open. Breathing clearly through the night may not solve everything, but it's a piece of the puzzle that's often overlooked. And finally, let's touch on something that goes far beyond the body and right into the heart: routine and purpose. As we get older, routines can fade. There might be fewer reasons to get up at a certain time, fewer obligations, fewer scheduled activities. And while that might feel freeing at first, over time it can start to affect our sleep in unexpected ways. The brain craves rhythm. It likes knowing what to expect. When your days become less structured, your body can lose that internal sense of timing. You might find yourself napping during the day not because you're tired, but because you're bored. Or you stay up watching television just because there's nothing else going on. These small shifts ripple into the night, where sleep becomes lighter, less restorative, and more interrupted. But here's the good news: you can create gentle routines that bring your rhythm back. It doesn't have to be strict or complicated. Start your day around the same time, even if you didn't sleep well. Have your meals on a schedule. Set aside time for a walk, a puzzle, a call with a friend. These little anchor points throughout the day tell your brain, we're in motion. We have a rhythm. And that rhythm helps lead you gently into deeper, more satisfying sleep at night. So, as we look at everything from melatonin changes to blood sugar dips, daylight exposure, bathroom habits, and the need for a daily rhythm, one thing becomes clear: waking up at 3 a.m. isn't just random. It's your body speaking. And when you learn to listen, really listen, it gives you the power to respond in a way that's calm, gentle, and effective. So if you've been waking up at 3 a.m. and wondering, why me? Why now? You're starting to see that there's more going on than just a random disruption. Your body, your brain, and your lifestyle are all part of a delicate system that shifts as we age. But understanding those changes puts the power back in your hands. Now, there's one more sneaky reason for those early wake-ups, and it's one that often hides in plain sight: medications. As we get older, it's not uncommon to be on a few prescriptions. Maybe it's something for blood pressure, arthritis, cholesterol, or even a sleep aid. And while each one might seem harmless on its own, some medications, especially when taken in combination, can quietly interfere with your sleep. Certain blood pressure pills, for example, can lower your pressure too much at night, triggering restlessness or bathroom trips. Some medications for mood, anxiety, or even allergies can mess with your natural sleep cycle, making it harder to stay asleep even if they make you drowsy at first. And here's the tricky part: you might not notice these effects right away. It might take weeks or even months before your sleep patterns shift, so it's easy to miss the connection. That's why it's so important to check in with your doctor or pharmacist regularly, especially if you've noticed new sleep problems after starting or changing medications. And while we're on the topic of sleep aids, be careful. Over-the-counter sleep medications might help you fall asleep, but they often interfere with the deeper stages of sleep. They can also leave you feeling groggy, forgetful, or off balance the next day, which can increase the risk of falls or confusion. Sleep isn't just about how long you're out, it's about the quality of rest your brain and body are getting. But I don't want this to feel overwhelming. Because here's the truth, you don't need to overhaul your life overnight. In fact, the most lasting changes often come from small, intentional steps, ones you can start today. So maybe tonight, you try that protein-rich bedtime snack instead of going to bed on an empty stomach. Maybe tomorrow morning, you step outside for just a few minutes of sunlight to help reset your inner clock. Maybe you resist the urge to nap for too long during the day, and instead, pick up a book or call a friend. Maybe you create a small bedtime ritual, a warm bath, soft music, gentle stretching. Something to tell your body, it's time to rest. Each of these tiny steps adds up. Your sleep is not broken. Your body is not broken. It's simply adapting. And with a little care, you can guide it back into balance. You might not sleep like a teenager again, and that's okay. You don't need 8 perfect hours to feel rested. What you do need is sleep that feels refreshing, that supports your body, your mind, and your sense of peace. And here's something else I want you to remember: if you find yourself awake at 3 a.m. again tonight, don't panic. Don't lie there feeling frustrated or defeated. Instead, take a few deep breaths. Try not to check the clock, just let your body relax. You can even get up and sit in a quiet room with dim lighting, maybe read a few pages of a calming book or listen to gentle music. Let sleep return naturally instead of chasing it. Your body knows how to sleep, it's just relearning the rhythm. And every night is a new opportunity to help it along. So let's quickly remind ourselves of what we've uncovered. Your 3 a.m. wake-ups could be connected to lower melatonin levels, blood sugar dips, emotional processing, lack of sunlight, nighttime urination, disrupted routines, breathing issues, or even your medications. And most importantly, they're not a mystery. They're messages. Messages that say, pay attention. Take care. Be kind to yourself. And I know, it's easy to feel like sleep troubles are just another frustrating part of aging, but I want to flip that idea on its head. Because this stage of life? It's not a decline, it's a transition. And with a little knowledge and the right tools, you can navigate it with confidence. So if this video helped you feel a little more informed, a little more hopeful, or even just a little less alone, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, have you experienced these early wake-ups? What's helped you get back to sleep? You never know, your story might help someone else going through the same thing. And if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more helpful tips on living a healthier, happier life after 60. We're all in this together, and every bit of shared wisdom makes a difference. Here's to deeper sleep, brighter mornings, and knowing that no matter what age you are, you deserve rest, peace, and joy. Until next time, take care of yourself. You've earned it.